Today on Monkey Life, another small primate rescue for Alison. This time it's Frank, a Geoffroy's marmoset.
Well, he's clearly a very confident young man.
And an epic fail for Bruce the slow loris as female Boo rejects him.
So Boo's pretty nervous. I guess she's quite a bit smaller than him.
Plus, great news from Germany about Hsiao-Ning, one of the park's first nursery graduates. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
That's one been grabbed.
The park provides a home for more than 250 monkeys and apes from 20 different species. Alison's on a familiar mission. She's en route to rescue another marmoset victim of the British pet trade. This time she's travelling to the Midlands to collect and rehome a Geoffroy's marmoset called Frank.
I've known about Frank for actually a number of months now because when his current owners first purchased him, they did it because they were concerned about his health and welfare. He was only 12 months old when they first purchased him for £1,000, so not cheap expense. This is one very spoiled little monkey, but the family are doing everything they can. It's going to be an emotional day for everybody, I think.
The family contacted Alison a few months ago, having quickly realised they couldn't give Frank what all marmosets crave: companionship of his own kind and a natural outdoor environment. At the time, the park's marmoset complex was full to capacity, but the family visited Monkey World to see how the team care for the needs of these tiny primates. They agreed that as soon as space became available, they would let Frank join the ever-increasing number of rescued marmosets. Now, that day has arrived.
Hello. Good morning. You all right? Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing?
All right, thank you.
Really good to see you. There you are, little man. Hey, you. Hey, gorgeous.
Japanese face.
Yeah. Hi, you. I've got things that you'll like, though, little man.
Frank is nearly 2 years old and is starting to show all the behavioural signs of a fully grown adult.
He's just coming into full maturity, so his little aggressive behaviors and displays will become more and more.
Yeah.
And then he's going to end up picking, if he were to stay, one of you guys, probably yourself as the primary carer, and then he'll start having little goes at everybody else. Is the usual way. What do you think?
For owner Mandy, the demands of having a primate as a pet were a reality check.
It's 24/7. You can't have a day off. You can't think, oh, he doesn't need feeding today, or if you can't go out and stay over anywhere because you've got to get somebody to look after him. Hard work. Hard work.
Good boy. Yes, I can see all furnitures have a little touch of Frank.
Everything. Basically, he's took over the front room and he chews everything: the settee, the carpet, anything. And I've got wood in my front room. It was my favourite, so he's chewed all the wood as well. And wheeze and poos in here. It's like his home, isn't it?
Look, little man. Look.
Alison gains Frank's trust with a supply of mealworms, so that when the time comes to get him into the travelling box, it won't be too stressful.
Well, he's clearly a very confident young man, and been sort of well looked after and everything, but, you know, it's difficult in a sitting room in a domestic house to create the full-blown perfect environment for what's an animal that lives in the rainforest. So, you know, as much as they've provided everything they can for Frank, he needs, don't you go for my dragonflies, he needs companionship of another monkey and to have somebody with him at all times and to groom and communicate in the correct way. So we can get him hooked up with Douglas, then it's like, you know, two puppies at the feeding bowl. All of the natural behaviors will come flying out of him straight away, so.
To make him comfortable on the journey back to the park, Alison places some of his favourite toys into the box.
You do know what the box is, but it's sort of interesting in there. And if I stud it with insects, I think I might get you.
Now it's just a question of waiting. Frank is curious as to why his toys are in the crate and pops his head in to check things out. When most of him is in the box, Alison gives him a final helping hand.
Oh, Frank, God bless you, you'll be fine.
You will be good.
I've said my prayers.
It's an emotional time for the family. Giving up a pet is always difficult, but they know they've made the right decision.
And see you soon. See you soon, Frank.
It's time for Alison and Frank to head back to Dorset. It's just over a week since woolly monkey Isla gave birth to her first infant, a little boy. Unfortunately, he was rejected by his mum. The primate care staff tried to reintroduce the baby to Isla, but she just wasn't interested. The team have been hand-rearing him ever since. To help him learn and develop as a woolly monkey should, he now needs to take his next big step, spending more time in the vicinity of others of his own kind.
Good boy. Hi.
The team have put together a specially prepared playroom where he'll be able to see Dad Chippy, Mum Isla, and the rest of the group, but without any physical interaction. Today, he's going to experience it for the first time.
He's definitely progressed over the past few days. He's started becoming a lot more alert. You can really see it in his eyes. He's taking note of things, noisy toys and anything like that. He's actually starting to turn to where the noise is coming from. He's slowly getting a little bit more active and he's feeding really, really well, which is good.
The bedroom has a specially raised floor and lots of handholds to prevent accidental falls, along with plenty of brightly coloured toys. Although he isn't moving around much yet, the space and toys are good stimulation for the youngster and will encourage him to reach out and start working his limbs. It also allows other members of the group to come over and take a look.
Individuals like Chippy are really interested in the baby, and particularly if the baby vocalises at all, gives a little squeak or anything like that, he comes running over to the mesh and he actually just snuffles, which is like their affectionate thing, so that's lovely, and he kind of is desperately trying to get as close as he can to the baby. Zingu spends a lot of time chilling out near this bedroom and just watches everything that's going on in here. So yeah, it's nice to know that everybody's aware of him already and everyone seems to be giving positive vocalisations towards him as well.
Like all newborns, this little one is very demanding and lets Emily know when he's hungry.
He's getting a little bit restless, he's starting to mouth around, which would be him rooting for the nipple. So he's basically telling me, I'm hungry and I'd like some food, please. Come here then. Good boy. Hi. You hungry? It's just warming up. Okay, right, little man. Done this? I know, it's here. Good boy. Good boy. He's feeding really well. I'm really pleased with his progress. Gradually each day he's taking slightly more and more milk from us. So we're obviously getting his fluid levels up, which is really important for him. And he's really keen for his feeds when he's ready for them. Good boy. He is teething a little bit at the moment, and that does cause him quite a lot of bother. He gets quite grizzly, sometimes particularly in the evenings. But for the most part, he feeds really well.
And when feeding time's over, it's time for a nappy change.
Having having his nappy change isn't his favourite thing. He certainly gets probably the most active as I'm pulling up on his tail and stuff. It just makes him want to pull forward on his hands. So yeah, he's definitely getting more tricky to change his nappy, and when you're trying to put a new one on, his back feet are starting to cling on to it and stuff. But, he likes having some nappy off time as well, which we'll do every so often for him, just because it's quite nice.
The team's past experience suggests they'll need to hand-rear the tiny woolly for about 5 months. But he's responding well, and by then should be independent enough to be fully integrated back into his woolly family. At the park's marmoset complex, the team are awaiting the arrival of Frank, a Geoffroy's marmoset Alison collected from a family in the Midlands. At nearly 2 years old, he's almost fully grown, and it's hoped in time he'll bond with a male common marmoset called Douglas.
We've just taken all the branching down from one of the rooms and put fresh up, so it's all nice and new for him and clean. We've filled it full of baskets for foraging, gum logs, to enable natural behaviour of eating the marmoset gum that we provide. Lots of nice bedding, blankets, baskets and things, so hopefully he'll move in. He won't smell of any other marmosets, so it'll be nice for him, nice and fresh and new, and he'll settle in and make it his own little house.
The complex is currently home to 25 marmosets, almost all rescued from the British pet trade.
Hiya. So he's lovely. Yeah, he's very confident. He was definitely in charge of the household and runs around giving people little bites. I had 2 or 3 little, like, not bad, but just like I'm in charge, and then sat on my shoulder and started to curl up and go to sleep.
Frank will spend his first night in his new bedroom at the marmoset house. He won't be introduced to Douglas until the team are happy he's calm and settled.
Hello, you.
First of all, Alison wants to weigh him. Less the weight of the box, he's just over ½ a kilo, about average for a fully grown male.
Yeah. I'm not convinced he has a whole lot of muscle tone. His body is quite full, but his little arms and legs aren't that beefy. So there might be some more filling out to do. There's definitely fitness to be done.
Yeah.
Hey, Frank. Good boy.
Frank takes his first proper look at his new home and is understandably cautious.
Come on, little man.
Branches and mesh are a lot different to having the run of a family living room.
Come on, buddy.
I mean, he's very nimble, but it was all on chairs and tables.
He will obviously start moving around more. He did have quite a big area where he was, but it was, wasn't really branched, obviously, like this, because it was in someone's house, so he's got to get used to moving on branches and on ropes. That will obviously build his core strength up and his balance as well, so that will help his muscle tone.
While Frank starts to get used to and explore his new surroundings, in the next bedroom, Douglas is very curious about this new housemate.
We're hopeful that Douglas and Frank will bond and be able to stay together, sleep together, groom, and all of those things. So they'll have these 2 bedrooms. But, you know, it's late in the afternoon now, so we'll let Frank settle in for tonight. Karen will try and make friends with him. He's dead curious looking around and hearing the other marmoset calls, so I think he's going to be just fine. But the first 24 hours, you want to make sure that an individual doesn't get so upset that they shut down. Not that we've ever even seen that with any of the marmosets ever, but better safe than sorry.
It's been a good day so far. Frank appears calm and relaxed in his new home. The team will keep their fingers firmly crossed that his introduction to potential pal Douglas goes just as smoothly. The park recently took in 5 nocturnal slow lorises, rescued by the authorities in Hong Kong. They've now made it successfully through their quarantine period, with the 2 females happily paired up with 2 of the males. One of the couples, Tina and Marley, have been transferred to Sheldon Wildlife Trust in Devon, which is in charge of the new slow loris European breeding programme.
Hello. Are you ready to come out?
In return, Boo, a single female, originally rescued from the Maldives by Alison before settling at Sheldon, has returned to Monkey World. It's hoped she will partner with Bruce, the remaining Hong Kong loris. He's been waiting patiently on his own since arriving some months ago. During the quarantine period, he's had to watch while the other 4 lorises paired up and moved in together. Now it's his turn. Boo's been put in a bedroom next to him, and although they can't see one another, they can smell and hear each other. Bruce's activity has dramatically increased, a sure sign he's interested in meeting the new arrival. In the past, Boo has lived with other female lorises, but Bruce is much larger than she is and might be a bit intimidating. She's had a few days to settle down and get used to her surroundings, and the team have decided today's the day she's going to get the chance to meet the hunk next door.
You ready, Bruce?
As the doors between their 2 rooms are opened, Steph is keeping her fingers crossed the pair will get on. Boo is the first to pop her head through. But as Bruce approaches, she disappears back into her room. He follows her in and slowly makes his way over to her. But it's too much too soon for Boo. She starts making a panting and rasping sound to warn him off.
So Boo's pretty nervous. I guess she's quite a bit smaller than him.
But Bruce, with little known experience of wooing ladies, is overcome with excitement and, making a very direct approach, tries to mate Boo. Unimpressed, she gives him a warning growl and threatens a nip. Undeterred, he approaches again, but now in a state of anxiety, Boo is having none of it.
It's difficult to say what kind of prompted that. I think Boo was just being cautious and doing a bit of sort of a chittery pant growl kind of warning. And Bruce sort of just went straight up and I think just tried to greet at first, but then because she was growling, he had a little snap at the back of her neck. But she seems unharmed, so I'm gonna leave them together for now because no one's, injured and they're both fine.
Boo continues making warning sounds that get quicker when Bruce tries to come close.
He's being quite sensible and he is moving away once he's sort of had a little sniff. So hopefully she just needs to get used to the sight of him and the smell of him, and hopefully she'll start to relax as she does that.
A while later, Boo starts a tentative approach towards Bruce. She's still making negative sounds, but a confused Bruce takes it as a form of encouragement and once again tries to mate. Boo, alarmed by the speed of his approach, growls and the pair wrestle, causing Bruce to fall. He's unharmed by the fall, but shortly after, Steph, now joined by others from the primate care team, notices Boo has started licking herself. It's a sign she might have been wounded, and they're worried Bruce may have bitten her. Loris bites can be toxic, so this could be a serious issue. The team examine her, but Boo's thick fur makes it difficult to see by torchlight.
Hey, buddy. Hi there. Little cutie.
It's established the wound isn't serious, but the team decide to call it a day in order to give Boo and Bruce time to calm down. They'll try again in a few days' time. Over the years, there have been a lot of comings and goings at the park, as new primates arrive and others grow up and join new groups. It's been 12 years since Monkey World was asked to set up the European creche for orphaned orangutans. Since then, it's gone from strength to strength, rearing infants in a social, happy group so they grow up knowing how to be orangutans. And today, all that hard work by everyone involved has paid off. Alison has received some wonderful news.
We've just been contacted by Rostock Zoo, where Hsiao-Ning and also her sister Dinda moved to a couple of years ago now. Not only was Hsiao-Ning pregnant, she's now given birth to what is a beautiful baby girl, And most importantly, she's looking after it. And I'm like even getting goosebumps as I'm saying it, because the one thing that we know about orangutans is that if they're orphans themselves, odds are they're not going to look after their own babies. And that's exactly why the orangutan creche here at the park was set up, is to try and break that cycle of abandonment. And I've seen video clips, I've seen photographs. She's just a doting, lovely, beautiful, perfect mother. And it's everything that we wanted here at the park.
Hsiao-Ning was born back in 2003 to mum Roro and dad Tuan. Roro didn't feed her, so she was hand-reared by the team at Monkey World before joining the nursery group at the park. In 2012, Hsiao-Ning left for Rostock Zoo to join 2 other orangutans, a male of similar age called Sabas and another female, Miri. Just 2 years later, Hsiao-Ning's sister Dinda, also rejected by Roro at birth, joined the trio in Germany.
We're really pleased. They're in a beautiful home with excellent people caring for them. And, you know, Tuan and Roro are grandparents now for the first time. With Dinda, Hsiao-Ning's sister, maybe there's going to be the pitter-patter of little orange feet again very soon. I hope it all works out well for Dinda and that she too cares for her baby, and that we might start seeing some results of these orphans going on to care for their babies perfectly because they've had the right background here at our orangutan creche.
It's a significant moment for the park and testament to the work they do.
I'm so very proud of all of the efforts that we go to try and give our guys the very best and fullest life possible. We're now all really hopeful that we've got the right mix here at the park with our orangutan nursery, and that all of these orphans will grow up to be good, caring mothers, and we won't have any more orphan babies.
Today on Monkey Life. From Russia with love, Alison and Jarno are in Moscow to collect a baby orangutan.
Click. Yeah. Good girl. Excellent job.
Marmoset Frank meets Douglas, his new housemate.
Doggy. Come on, Frank, calm down a bit.
And Al the lemur experiences Malagasy for the first time. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
This is going to be the first day that they've ever stepped outside, ever in their lifetime.
The park provides a home for more than 250 monkeys and apes from 20 different species. It's a beautiful morning in Moscow. Alison and the leader of the orangutan care team, Jarno, have flown to the Russian capital on a special mission to collect a baby orangutan. They're going to take her back to Dorset to be with the other youngsters in the nursery group at the park. Monkey World is the European creche for orphaned orangutans. It's a joint collaboration between zoos and wildlife parks throughout Europe, including Moscow. Baby orangs born here or elsewhere in Europe who become orphaned or rejected by their mothers are sent to Monkey World so they can be cared for and grow up with others of their own kind.
This is Jarno and Barbara.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. We have been emailing for 10 years or more. So, yeah.
Moscow Zoo has been successfully involved previously in the creche arrangement. 12 years ago, young female Jolie was sent from here to the park in Dorset.
Here at Moscow Zoo, they actually have 2 different species of orangutan, both the Sumatran orangutans and the Bornean. And, you know, the Sumatran female that they have here cares for all of her babies, but the Bornean female just doesn't seem to look after her infants. So this is the second baby from Moscow that will be joining the orangutan creche at Monkey World.
Lauren, or Mimi as she's affectionately known by the Russian staff, is 21 months old. Like her sister Jolie, she was rejected by her mum at birth and hand-reared by the keepers.
Hello, Pipsqueak. Hello, Mimi.
It's now time for her to be integrated into a group of her own kind, and the team at Monkey World are experts in achieving this.
Good girl. Hey, Mrs.
Hello.
Mrs. Oh, Mrs. Mimi. Hi, you. You can take, but you take from our hand. Good girl. Good girl. No. Yeah. And the blanket.
But Mimi is shy with strangers and not easily won over. For the next few days, Alison and Jarno, who will be Mimi's main carer at the park, must work to gain her trust.
I know what you are thinking.
It's a softly approach designed to make Mimi as comfortable as possible in the presence of 2 strangers.
There we go. First one.
They soon start making progress, initially with Mimi becoming brave and trusting enough to be hand-fed raisins.
You want this one? Okay. And should I have one too? Yeah.
And then going one further and taking a sip of water from the bottle on offer.
Good girl. Already. Excellent.
Things are progressing nicely, which is just as well, because in a couple of days, Mimi will be transported back to the park in this travel box. But she won't be going in the cargo hold. Alison has obtained special permission from the British authorities and the airline for the little baby orangutan to travel with her in the cabin. That way, Alison and Jarno can keep an eye on her and minimise any stress while giving her food and water.
Quick. Yeah. Good girl. Excellent job.
These next few days and hours are vital to ensure the move runs smoothly. By the end of the day, Jarno has made a breakthrough, with Mimi trusting enough to enjoy a little play session, although she's somewhat feisty.
Yeah.
That is already amazing. Hopefully, by tomorrow and next day, I'll be able to just spend good time with her and feeding her as well. That is will gain her confidence even more, and from there, she will climb up to me and she sort of knowing me, basically.
It's been a good first day, but Alison doesn't want to push it any further. Tomorrow they can continue building up trust with the youngster. But for now, Mimi can head off with her Russian keeper for a well-earned dinner. While Alison and Jarno are getting to know Mimi, back at the park in Dorset, the orangutan team are getting everything ready for her arrival. Alison has let them know Mimi doesn't have access to lots of climbing apparatus in Moscow. As they don't know how well she can climb, they're adapting one of the bedrooms to make it safe and comfortable and give her the chance to grow in strength and agility.
We'll need to gauge sort of how well she's moving around, and you know, we have a lovely playroom here at the nursery, but there's a big height to the enclosure, so we need to be confident that she's climbing well and she has that ability in the bedroom area, which is slightly safer, before we move her through into the playroom area. So I think that's the pattern that we'll take. And obviously they've all got experience, the team, having, you know, reared Bulu and Rika and seen the different stages of their development. So we kind of mirrored what they had at that age, and that's what we've gone with for Lauren.
While the work goes on indoors, outside, the rest of the nursery group are enjoying the sunshine. There are currently 6 members here. The 2 adult females, Hsiao-Ning and Roro. And then there are the 2 boys, 7-year-old Jin and 6-year-old Sylvester. And finally, the 2 youngest members, Bulu Mata and Rika. It'll be important to get Mimi socialised within the group as soon as possible. But the team will assess her for the first couple of days before deciding who she'll meet first.
We have options here. You know, we have different animals that we can introduce to Lauren and gauge what's working for her. So if she's settled and reassured by the presence of an adult female, that's going to be great. But if she feels more comfortable around animals that are a similar size to her, that's also going to be good for those initial periods of contact. So, you know, we would imagine developmentally that her and Bulu and Rika are sort of on a par, so therefore play sessions are going to be at a level that she can cope with. And so it's a way of getting her contact straight away, but an animal hopefully that she's not too worried about because they're a similar size to her.
The most likely first contact will be with Roro. She's settled in really well since moving from Tuan's group a few months ago. All the youngsters have taken to her, and even Hsiao-Ning hasn't been put out by having another adult female on the scene. Jin and Sylvester spend most of their time happily playing together. Life for them at the moment is one big rough and tumble session. Bulu and Rika, although still very close, are showing signs they're starting to become more independent. Bulu is now brave enough to play with the older boys, whilst Rika is loving her one-on-one sessions with Hsiao-Ning. And now there'll be an addition to the ranks. An extra playmate for them all to have fun with. It's a big morning for the park's newest arrival, 2-year-old Marmoset Frank. He used to have the run of a family's front room at a house in the Midlands before Alison arrived to rehome him. His owners had bought him via the British pet trade, but had come to realise just how difficult caring for one of these tiny primates is. When space became available at Monkey World, Alison agreed to take him in. Frank spent his first night in one of the Marmoset bedrooms, and this morning is about to meet his new housemate Douglas for the first time. Although they're different Marmoset species, it shouldn't matter, as their behaviour is very similar.
Frank is the Geoffroy's marmoset and Dougie is a common marmoset. So there may be some slight differences in their vocalisations, just very, very slight ones. They will still do a lot of the same calls. They may be slightly different in tone, potentially, and volume, but they will still do the same kind of chuntering, aggressive noises, the same contact calls.
Frank is almost 2 years old and fully mature, but apart from the first few weeks of his life, he's lived on his own. He has no social skills and doesn't know how to be a marmoset.
In the wild, marmosets will live with their family groups for up to 5 years, so in that time learning how to be a marmoset. He obviously hasn't had that ability or the chance to learn those things, so it's very difficult to know how a new animal is going to react to a marmoset when we do an intro, because they don't necessarily know what the right thing is to say or the right vocalisations to use at a particular time. That's one of the main problems that we get when we get in rescued marmosets, is that they simply don't know how to be a marmoset.
Ready, you two?
It's Douglas who makes the first move and noisily heads in to see Frank. But Frank, in his excitement, is like a bull in a china shop and dashes across to meet his new housemate. Douglas is immediately on the defensive and his chuntering becomes more forceful.
Dougie.
A bewildered Frank doesn't know what to make of it and starts alarm calling.
Really loud, Frank.
He simply doesn't know when to stop.
Come on, Frank, calm down a bit.
But there's no negative physical contact or aggression, and both marmosets, although vocal, do seem interested in one another. It's 45 minutes before Frank realises Douglas means him no harm.
Hey there, good boy. You calming down a bit?
And with the help of a few live locusts, both marmosets start to relax a little.
Hopefully everything will go a bit slower and they'll just get used to being around each other a bit better, and then hopefully get a bit closer and get to have more contact, positive contact.
Karen and Steph will keep an eye on the pair for the rest of the day. But unless they see more positive interactions, such as playing and grooming together, they'll separate them and try again tomorrow. There hasn't been any serious physical confrontation between the two males, so the team are hopeful tomorrow will be even better, and the two boys will develop a bond that could last for the rest of their lives. It's a big day for Al the lemur over at Malagasy. Since his arrival a little over 4 weeks ago, he's been introduced and integrated into the whole troop. And now he's about to go outside and have full access to the large enclosure for the first time.
Coming out in Malagasy is going to be quite daunting, I think, for Al, because it's obviously a really big enclosure. It's sort of a natural woodland, so we've got plenty of very high trees. We've got all of the sort of fences and the sort of rope bridges and things like that for him to sort of learn where they are and kind of how to navigate them. So it's going to be a lot to think about for him. So it's going to be a real experience, but all of our lemurs love living here and therefore forest woodland. So hopefully Al will fit right in. Come on then, you boys.
There are 11 lemurs in the group, 9 boys and 2 girls, all led by dominant female Fennel.
You ready, guys? Rest of them come in.
Al is the last out of the group, probably because he's still getting used to the doors and slides. But once outside, he doesn't mess around. He busily checks out the large outdoor space, scent marking most things as he goes along. But it's the sight of all the tall trees that really grabs his attention. The team aren't sure of his background, so no one knows if he's ever been up a tree. They'll need to keep a close eye on him. They needn't have worried. Al takes to the trees like it's the most natural thing in the world. And it is, for a lemur.
He seems very, very comfortable, actually, going quite high up in the trees. You can kind of see him thinking about it a lot more than our guys when he wants to go down and move to the next place. So he's just got to kind of learn the layout of the enclosure and figure out what routes are the best for him. And also, you know, he's got the sort of broken tail, so I don't know whether that maybe makes him just think that little bit harder about the way he wants to go, kind of up and down the trees. But once he's up there, he seems to just be having a lovely time. And he's actually moving very, very confidently, which is nice to see.
Steph has put out pieces of apple for the lemur's breakfast, and they happily get stuck in. But once they've polished it off, they head out to enjoy the beauty of Malagasy. Some, like Friedrich and Fennel, take to the trees, while others, like Kaya, use the wooden bridges to get around. Sirius has found a bit of spare apple and is eating it out of sight of the others. Indiana and Fennel are making the most of the warm sunshine, in true lemur style. As for Al, he's loving the freedom of this new environment. It helps that he's been accepted by all the other lemurs, not least female Kaya, who's taken a shine to the new boy, and the feeling is mutual.
She's kind of like his hired pit bull at the moment, his little bodyguard. She's quite a ferocious, feisty little thing at times, so she's really given him quite a service and protecting him, taking him under her wing. And they'll kind of like meander off and go apart and do other things for a little bit, but you quite often see Kaya kind of peeking her head round, checking on where he is. And if he sort of walks past her, he has to stop and have a little sniff and a little groom before they kind of move on to the next thing. So their friendship seems to be working out really kind of well for him.
Life for these lemurs can be thirsty work. And it's great to see that everyone seemingly gets on so well. The troop have accepted Al into their ranks with little fuss, and he, in turn, seems quite content and at home in his new surroundings and with his new family. It's the second day of Alison and Jarno's trip to Moscow Zoo. They're here to collect and rehome a 21-month-old baby born in orangutan called Mimi. She was rejected by her mother at birth and has since been raised and cared for by the staff here. But she's had very little contact with others of her own kind. Things went well yesterday as Mimi started to bond with Alison and Jarno, eating and drinking from their hands.
You want this one? Okay.
They even managed a little rough and tumble session with her. This morning, Jarno is keen to chat with Mimi's Russian keepers and gain any information he can about her character, health, and any dietary issues she may have. He's already discovered she has a milk allergy. A quick scan reveals Mimi is microchipped and the location of the small chip.
Probably it's here.
Okay, on the left side.
Yeah.
On the left side.
On the left
the
side,
shoulder.
yes.
Okay, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Ну что, мучаем?
Jarno is going to spend the first part of today alone with Mimi. He'll be one of the key members of the team looking after her at Monkey World.
Good guy. Good guy.
With no one else around this morning, she'll be able to concentrate on getting to know him better, and vice versa.
Good girl.
However, for such a little orangutan, she has an aggressive streak.
No. No.
Being on her own for most of her short life so far, Mimi has become spoilt and has decided she doesn't want or need the new strangers. She has a full set of teeth and knows how to use them.
Don't bite.
Her bite is quite hard, but it is what it is. And in these last few days, she's slightly calmer, and hopefully by end of the day today, I will get good relationship with her.
As the morning progresses, things improve to such an extent that Mimi allows Jarno to pick her up and take her on a little tour to visit her orangutan relatives. She'll soon be saying goodbye to one family and hello to another in Dorset. But in between is a long journey in a travel box.
Lena,
Alison wants to try out a sedative to relax Mimi and make the trip less stressful, but she needs to get the dosage just right.
Oh, good girl. Let's get all the good stuff off the top, first of all. Such a clever girl.
It's a very mild sedative just to relax her and calm her down, because when we take Lauren to the airport, we're actually going to have to take her to the cargo area of the airport where she will be held for 2 hours while paperwork is processed, and then she will be delivered to us on board the plane before all of the other passengers get on board. So during that time, it's going to be really stressful. She has never known anything in her short life other than the keepers and her area here at Moscow Zoo. So for Lauren's sake, we want to make her relaxed and feeling a little bit tired, but fully awake and conscious so that she's healthy and alert, but just maybe ready to have a little nap when she is going through that whole process in the cargo area.
They also want Mimi to get used to the box so she doesn't become stressed when the time comes to leave for real.
So, good girl. Basically, we are trying to train Lauren really quickly to walk in and out of the box by her own choice. It is far nicer if she chooses to walk into the box and is in control. Then it means that it's something fun and interesting she can do, as opposed to us having to manhandle her and fight her into the box.
Alison and Jarno have done all they can in the time available. Tomorrow, Mimi will be heading to Dorset to join the gang in the nursery group. But there's one final job her Russian keepers want to do before she leaves. As Mimi is going to travel on board the plane, they want to make sure she's clean and doesn't smell too much. It'll be a big day for this little girl tomorrow. Today on Monkey Life. Baby orangutan Mimi from Moscow Zoo arrives in the UK to start a new life with others of her own kind.
Paperwork's all finished. She's now officially property of Monkey World.
And can male loris Bruce woo female loris Boo, or will he be unlucky in love?
She was really just a bit shocked by his forwardness and a bit taken aback.
Plus, a treat of crabapple browse makes some of the chimps, well, crabby. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Smells a bit macaque in there, but yeah, we're good.
The park provides a home for more than 250 monkeys and apes from 20 different species. It's early evening at London Heathrow's Animal Reception Centre. Every year, thousands of animals, including fish, reptiles, zoo animals and pets, are processed here after their arrival on international flights. The park's newest addition is about to join that number, following a 3.5-hour journey from Moscow. She's 21-month-old Mimi, a Bornean orangutan rejected by her mum at birth and brought up and cared for by the keepers at Moscow Zoo. But now it's time to integrate her with others of her own kind. Monkey World is the European creche for orphaned orangutans, and the team are experts in looking after baby orangs.
Hey, you, madam. I'm back. I'm back.
Alison and Jarno have spent 3 days in Moscow with Mimi, getting to know her and gaining her trust. With the cooperation of the airline and the authorities, Mimi was even allowed to travel back with them in the passenger cabin of the plane. Every effort has been made to look after the welfare of this little orangutan.
She's doing really well. Quite happy, bright. You can see she's checking everything out. She's been laying back, having snacks, and even had 1 or 2 naps on the flight. The flight's about 3.5 hours long, and she had 2 naps. And at one point in time, sort of looked up like everybody's making too much noise around here, and pulled her blanket over her head and went back to sleep again. So I think she's done really, really well. It's just amazing the efforts that so many people from Moscow to London have gone through to make sure that this little orphan gets a family again. So we'll get her back to Monkey World tonight. And tomorrow, you're gonna have to play nice. Yes.
Jarno makes sure Mimi is fed and watered before they start the next leg of the journey.
She's so good. Whole journey, literally, she's just so calm. Just giving her some juice, ready to go all the way to Monkey World and join the others.
Mimi is kept in a quarantine room at the animal centre while she's checked over, and all the accompanying paperwork for the importation of live animals is processed and signed by the officials and Alison. Once everything is in order, Mimi is released into Alison's care and loaded into a special transit van.
But just mind your fingers, because she can be nippy.
Thank you so much.
It's now late evening, and Mimi and the team still have a long journey by road ahead of them. But it's all been worthwhile.
Paperwork's all finished. She's now officially property of Monkey World. And now we'll head down to Dorset and get her settled for the night. She's got to be tired, but like all children is like keeping herself up, which is good because she should just crash when we get home. So really happy that she's finally here.
It's a damp day at Hananya's enclosure. The normally boisterous group of chimps are a little subdued. They're keen to get out of the rain and back into their playrooms. Inside, Rob from the primate care team has just finished cleaning, and is now putting down some fresh bedding and fresh vegetables for lunch. Today, there's going to be an extra treat. Staff at the park have harvested a large amount of crabapple browse. This seasonal treat might be just the thing to perk the chimps up. Rob and Wendy set about scattering the browse, laden with apples, over every level of the 2 playrooms, ensuring they'll all have a chance of finding some. When everything's ready, the chimps are allowed back in. Half of them run into the first playroom, while the rest burst into the second room next door. 4-year-old Thelma hitches a ride with Cherry as they all race to find a treat. The crabapples aren't a regular food for Hananya's group of 19, so it's bound to create excitement. But a bit of a squabble's breaking out on the other side of the wall. Cherry, with Thelma still on board, is picking a fight with lower-ranking Patricia, perhaps because she beat her to the apples. Next, she has a go at Kiki before storming out through the door. A little late, group leader Hananya comes through from next door to see what all the noise is about. Back in the first room, things are much calmer now, with everyone happily tucking into the apples. Cherry, with a large handful of browse, has now calmed down and climbs up to join Patricia on the top platform. Perhaps she's trying to make amends for her previous outburst. Everyone is happily enjoying the treats. Honey just can't eat another thing and decides it's time for a good old scratch. Thelma has worn herself out and wants some attention from Mum. She tries to walk across high-ranking female Joni's browse to reach her, but gets warned off. Aunt Evelyn quickly reassures the youngster and guides her around the back instead. After all the excitement and feasting, full and content, the group settle down for an afternoon nap. The small monkey team have been trying a spot of matchmaking with 2 lonely heart lorises. Boo, a female rescued from the Maldives 3 years ago, and Bruce, one of the rescued lorises from Hong Kong. Their first meeting a few days ago didn't go well. Bruce was keen, but Boo less so. His enthusiasm left her feeling threatened.
We don't know whether she's met any males before. She certainly hasn't done while in captivity that we know of. She was really just a bit shocked by his forwardness and a bit taken aback, and obviously she felt a little bit intimidated.
Since then, the pair have spent a few days on opposite sides of the house, where they've been able to weigh each other up from the safety of their own bedrooms. The 2 rooms are connected by a mesh tunnel. The sliding door at Boo's end has been left open, with the entrance to Bruce's room closed, meaning she can go across to see him, but can keep her distance if she prefers.
We made sure that the way we had the tunnel, it was her going into the tunnel to see him. She's going to him, sitting next to him by the slide, whistling while looking at him. So all signs are positive.
With the duo now seemingly relaxed in each other's company, the staff are going to give them a second chance at romance. Today, the doors at both ends of the connecting tunnel have been opened, and the hope is Bruce will have learned his lesson and take a more subtle approach.
So what we're looking for is them to kind of move around each other calmly. It'd be nice to have some vocalizations from them, some positive vocalizations from them. And obviously that what we really would like is either play or grooming.
To the surprise of the staff, Bruce seems to be playing it cool and remains stationary in his room. If Boo wants to meet him, she'll need to make the moves. With her interest piqued, she cautiously makes her way across to his room.
Boo's on her way through to Bruce's room.
But Bruce shows a distinct lack of interest, and, spurned, Boo returns to her own room, whistling to him as she goes.
She wanted him to follow her.
The staff know this is one of the female lorises' courtship sounds, but nobody seems to have told Bruce. And when he doesn't take up her invitation, she makes her way back over to him. The staff are starting to become concerned about Bruce.
He's still not getting up. It's weird, isn't it? I hope he's not sick.
It's not looking promising. Boo, just to make sure her message is getting across, hangs upside down from the ceiling in the mating position.
Bruce, what do you think?
Just as everyone's losing hope, Bruce perks up.
He's moving now. Slowly. Good boy, Bruce.
And decides to join her. But now, possibly with an attack of last-minute nerves, Boo starts playing hard to get and runs back to her room. But again whistles to him as she goes. This time, responding to her call, he joins her, and the two gradually get closer.
She's at least holding ground when he's coming towards her, and she's not scared of him. She's not moving away. So far, much better.
Boo makes the first contact and begins grooming Bruce. Minutes later, his patience is rewarded, and Bruce makes his move. The park has now created 3 pairs of loved-up lorises, and the future of the European breeding programme looks hopeful.
And obviously not the end of the story yet. We've still got a long way to go. To see them together and to see them happy and interacting in a friendly way, it's just a really nice end to the story for them too. So we couldn't have asked for anything better, really.
Following a long journey from Moscow to Dorset, Alison has returned to some worrying news.
Hey, little man. How you doing?
The woolly monkey team are concerned about the health of their newest arrival.
To be quite honest, I'm really worried about this little boy. He's now about 2 weeks old. Really should be growing, strong, thriving, starting to climb about, take more interest in life, and mainly, you know, gaining weight and things. And none of those things are happening with him. One of the first things I noticed is how scrawny his tail was, and you can see the vertebra on his tail showing quite obviously. He's got no sort of muscling and tissue really around his tail whatsoever. His little legs are now looking really skinny. And 2 weeks ago when he was born, he was 480 grams. I've just weighed him a few minutes ago and he's now 420. So he's lost 60 grams in 2 weeks, where, you know, you might expect an infant to lose a little bit of weight in the first few days of life, but not just to continue over a fortnight to lose weight. So we have to turn the tide now. Otherwise, within, I would say, days, he would probably die.
But Alison already had an idea about what could be wrong, and after changing the little one's nappy, her suspicions were confirmed.
If you work with animals long enough, you sort of get used to smelling feces enough. You know what's sort of a healthy smell and what's not a healthy smell. And this little guy definitely doesn't smell good. He smells really rank. So I had a fecal sample taken and checked over. And sure enough, he's got a parasite called Giardia. And under John Lewis's advice, we're gonna treat him for the parasite. So it's just the tiniest amount of worming medication. And we'll see what we can do and if we can get rid of it. And then he should start digesting his milk properly, not being so grisly, and hopefully taking more.
The tiny woolly is only 2 weeks old and has been hand-reared by the team since Mum Isla rejected him at birth. He's already spending time with his woolly family in a specially prepared playroom where he can see and hear them, but without any physical interaction until he's stronger and more mobile. Alison is hoping that the tiniest dose of the drug, advised by vet John Lewis twice a day for 3 days, will do the trick.
So this is probably going to be hideous, little man. I know. You're not going to want this in your mouth at all. I know. Hang on. Open up. I would hope that by the end of today, certainly by tomorrow, he'll start feeling better in himself. And then another couple of days for actually everything to clear off and out of his system. Because everybody's been working really hard to make sure he gets everything to develop into a strong, healthy, woolly monkey. But at this point in time, we really need to overcome his parasites and his rough start in life. So hopefully he'll turn the tide now and start gaining some weight by next week.
The squirrel monkeys are in for fun and games today. Sharon from the primate care team is hanging coloured plastic tubes around their enclosure.
This is some enrichment for the squirrel monkeys. So we've just packed these plastic tubes with wood wool, and in between we've got lots of waxworms and mealworms, which is their favourite treat.
In their native forests of Central and South America, the squirrel monkeys spend a lot of time searching for the fruits, flowers and insects that make up their diet. They lead busy and active lives, so energy-packed foods like insects are just the thing to keep them going. They're also a firm favourite here at the park.
In the wild, they have quite a high protein diet, so it's about 80% insects. They choose insects over nice juicy fruit. Waxworm for them is just heaven, so we try and get many innovative ways of kind of getting the bugs into them rather than just chucking them all into their enclosure.
Mimicking life in their natural habitat is an important part of looking after the squirrel monkeys' physical and mental well-being.
They're really active animals, which means they're very prone to boredom, especially our boy Charlie. He's a really clever lad, and he tends to sort of figure out enrichment really quickly, so we're always trying to sort of be one step ahead of him and think of new ways to kind of keep him active.
Charlie, the only male squirrel monkey in the group, is also the youngest. But despite this, he tends to dominate his female companions.
We've got a couple of old ladies, Topsy and Turvy, that came together, and then we've got Azzy, who's only been here for about a year or so. Charlie's, so he's a little bit different to the others, a little bit bigger, a bit more boisterous, but the other girls tend to take a bit of a step back and let him get on with it.
As well as the squirrel monkeys, there's also Chloe, a white-faced Saki monkey. She recently lost her partner Jethro and is having to get used to life on her own.
She's an older lady, so she doesn't tend to get too involved in the enrichment, but she does love her waxworms as well. So again, like the older ladies in this group, she'll probably hang back and wait to take what she can, whatever falls on the floor.
Today, the whole gang will have to work hard to get their wriggly treats of mealworms and waxworms. Hiding them in tubes forces the small primates to use their agility, strength and flexibility to get to the feeders, and then reach the rewards inside. Charlie is the most confident in tackling the challenge. His technique isn't the most delicate, but it works. Turvy is also getting stuck in, but being an old lady, she's a little calmer about the whole thing. Topsy soon realises she can collect the dropped or fallen insects from the ground with a lot less effort. Newest squirrel monkey to the group, Azzy, chooses not to get involved. Instead, she opts to relax and enjoy the lovely weather. Saki monkey Chloe doesn't show any interest in the puzzle feeders either. But she does love to sit out in the sunshine, and the staff will make sure she gets her share of the tasty grubs later on, once back inside. While the squirrel monkey group are having fun in the sun, next door, another troop of South American primates are about to get their own seasonal treat: grapes on the vine. Rachel is placing bunches all over the enclosure at the Capuchin Lodge, where Eriko rules supreme. To cater for every group member, she's making them harder to reach for some and easier for others.
We've got a lot of big characters at the lodge. We've got Joey, who is very playful and loves exploring, so I expect he'll be all over the grapes. We've got Eriko and Sean, who are our big boss monkeys. Eriko's in charge and Sean's number 2, and I expect they'll be first on the scene to have a look. And then we've got lots of dominant females who are very good at going around and picking up the grapes after everyone else had a go.
But it's Caesar who gets a head start. As a low ranker, he's quickly taking his opportunity and getting his fill before the more dominant members move in. Marlowe has taken the easy option, finding a large bunch on the ground. While Abby's got it completely sussed. Grapes and sunshine. Perfect. Zoe is expertly tackling the fruit on the high hoses, using her prehensile tail as a 5th limb to balance and reach down for the food. Dominant male Eriko has spotted a bunch on the cargo net, but prefers to eat them sitting on a more solid platform. While leader Eriko and his sidekick Sean tend to target the food nearer the ground, there are 2 Capuchins who love nothing better than being high up in the treetops. Elderly male Ringo and his admirer Scarlet were both born in the wild, then caught and used in a Chilean laboratory. They seem more at home above ground than many of the others, who've never experienced the wild.
Most of them have been pretty fascinated by the grapes. Even Phoenix, who usually keeps out of the way, has been busy looking for grapes in all the places that no one else is bothering to look up in the trees.
The grapes have been a big success. Almost all the members of Eriko's group seem to have given them a go. Once they've had enough, it's back to what they do best: foraging for worms and insects. Today on Monkey Life.
We've lost her.
It's goodbye to a much-loved orangutan matriarch.
It just wasn't to be. Just tragic. There's just no other way to say it.
While a new arrival at the nursery gets to meet her first grown-up.
Yeah, let's just see what happens here.
That's good.
And chimp Buxom demonstrates raspberries can be part of a perfectly balanced diet. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
I think this one's a little boy, and I think that that one over there might be an older lady.
The park provides a home for more than 250 monkeys and apes from 20 different species. It's been a roller coaster year at the park, with many highs and some lows for the team and the primates they care for. But with the onset of autumn, emotions are high once more. For the last week, orangutan mum Hsiao-Quai has been unwell with a urinary tract infection. The team have been treating her with antibiotics. Although she's been going outside, she's been eating and drinking very little. This morning, Hsiao-Quai has taken a turn for the worse. Jeremy, who's known her since she was rescued from Taiwan, went into her bedroom to help her. He tried to persuade her to take some fluids, without success. But as the day progressed, it became obvious Hsiao-Quai was very unwell, and vet John Lewis was called in.
She had a history of, for want of a better phrase, a lazy bowel, where the bowels would come to, the guts basically would stop moving, which is quite life-threatening. And it did occur to us that that might be happening again.
With Hsiao-Quai becoming severely dehydrated, something needed to be done, and quickly. John decided to give her a thorough examination. Anesthetizing any primate is risky, and the decision to do so isn't taken lightly. Unfortunately, just as John was getting started, Hsiao-Quai went into heart failure. Despite the team's best efforts, she couldn't be resuscitated and passed away.
We've lost her.
It just wasn't to be. And it's really sad and it's hard to talk about, but you know, you do everything you can for the guys, and sometimes there's just really no proper answer, and in hindsight, nothing that you really even would have done differently. So, just tragic. There's just no other way to say it. You know, young, relatively young individual, brilliant mom, not that that even matters so much. Her youngsters are all old enough now that that doesn't matter so much, but an important person in herself. Again, my heart goes out, yes, for Hsiao-Quai and what the rest of her life could have been, but also for Jeremy, of course, who is instrumental in the care and rescue of so many of these guys from such a young age. And then he's there in the very end too, and he was for Hsiao-Quai as well.
Hsiao-Quai arrived at the park in 2001 from the Pingtung Rescue Center in Taiwan. She was stolen from the wild and later rescued from a Taiwanese amusement arcade, where she'd been abandoned along with 2 other orangutans. When Jim, Alison and Jeremy first met her at Pingtung, she was living with Xiaolan and Lucky, and all 3 made the journey to Dorset. Hsiao-Quai thrived at the park, and in 2005 gave birth to her first son, Kai. 4 years later, baby number 2 arrived, Jin. Hsiao-Quai was the perfect mum. She's the only orangutan at the park, so far, to have cared for her babies. These wonderful maternal instincts came to the fore in 2012, when another female orangutan, Xiaolan, gave birth to baby Awan, but rejected her. Hsiao-Quai, who was still feeding Jin at the time, took up the reins and brought Awan up as her own.
She's just a lovely, well-adapted, confident little girl, and that's all because of Hsiao-Quai. So, you know, her own boys, yeah, I guess it's a mother's duty to step up to the plate and do that, but, you know, job well done, because both of them are just lovely lads. But she went that extra mile, didn't she, Hsiao-Quai? She looked after somebody else's baby and has done a brilliant job of it. It's just too bad there won't be any more.
Being such a perfect mum has given her children the best start in life. The hope is they too will go on to be good parents to their own future youngsters. Several days after Hsiao-Quai's passing, the results of the post-mortem revealed there was little the team could have done to save her.
The conclusion is really she had what's called a septicemia, where the only possible source of that septicemia appeared to be her urinary tract infection, where that had spread into the bloodstream. It would have been very difficult to treat her successfully, even if we'd have diagnosed as septicemia before she died, which we didn't. These things happen.
Hsiao-Quai was such a central part of the park's culture. Her loss will be felt by all the team. This year, the park also said goodbye to a number of other much-loved primates. The loss of alpha male chimp Paddy, one of the first primates to arrive at the park, was emotional for everyone.
Paddy was dignified from the moment I saw him till the moment he died, and I loved him for it.
Jethro, the Saki monkey's passing, was not unexpected. He was elderly and infirm, and following a vet examination, the team were prepared for the worst.
He's
pretty old and worn out, I would say.
Lucas!
The unexpected loss of woolly monkey Lucas, however, came as a shock, given his young age. He was only 2 years old. While it's always hard to lose much-loved members of the park's animal family, life goes on for all the rescued primates at the sanctuary. At the bachelor chimp enclosure, the boys are set for a summer treat. A local supermarket has donated a large supply of raspberries, still in their punnets. Sam from the care team is busy placing them all over the enclosure. Fruit makes up a large percentage of a chimpanzee's diet in the wild. They also eat leaves and insects. With all the raspberries now distributed in every available nook and cranny, there should be plenty to go around for all 15 bachelor boys. The excited chimps are straight out, led by Paco. It's a race to grab the raspberries, with Ben out in front. High-ranking Paco manages to grab a couple of punnets, but is still on the lookout for more. Cleverly using his teeth, Jester carefully peels back the cellophane from his punnet before tucking into the juicy fruit. Not to be outdone, Ben tries the same technique. It seems all the chimps have the same idea. Low-ranker Rocky's priority, however, is to protect his hoard. He glances around anxiously for anyone looking to steal his fruit. Jester is licking every last drop of juice from the punnet, but no one's taught him the countryside code. It seems not everyone's grabbed their share yet. Gypsy's still swinging around on the hoses and desperately searching for a box. While low-ranker Kiko can only watch on as the other more dominant males make the most of it. And no one more so than Buxom. He seems determined to find and hoard as many punnets as he can possibly carry. The other chimps look on enviously as Buxom uses his teeth, arms and hands, plus perfect balance, to make off with the raspberries. At 35 years of age, he's one of the high-ranking chimps in the group. He arrived at the park in 1993 from Windsor Safari Park and is Jester's half-brother. He's still an agile chimp, easily climbing up high out of sight of the others to eat his hoard in peace. It's been a busy morning for the chimps, and some, like Seamus, are still savouring every berry. While Ben is determined to squeeze out every last drop of juice. And when they've finally had their fill, there's nothing better than stretching out and relaxing in the warm afternoon sunshine. For the last few weeks, Alison and the team have been hand-rearing a newborn woolly monkey whose mum, Isla, rejected at birth. But last week, there was concern for the welfare of the infant. He was losing weight, and a test revealed he was infected with a parasite. He was immediately put on medication, and his condition dramatically improved.
Just over a period of a week, because things happen really quickly with tiny, vulnerable babies, I think we've turned the tide. Treated him for the parasites. Those are all gone and clear. We've done multiple tests, and yeah, you can see he's just got a sparkle in his eyes now that definitely wasn't there last week.
Staff have finally chosen a name for the young male woolly, following the park's system of naming babies with the first letter of their father's name, in this case, Chippy.
The one that everybody's agreed on for this little man is Cosmo. So this is little Cosmo, Chippy's son. Yes, you are. Oh, I know. And hopefully he'll go back and join Chippy and his group in just a few months' time.
While he's been poorly, Cosmo's regular visits to his family have been put on hold. But now he's put back on all the weight he lost in the previous couple of weeks, and Alison is happy with his progress.
I feel like we've turned back around the other direction. I was really concerned that he was dying in front of our eyes a week ago, and now I feel like we're bulking up and moving ahead and meeting developmental steps that I would want to be seeing. Yeah, it just all happened so quickly and in such a tiny way. Everything's small, huh?
The youngster has also been teething, and most of his teeth have now cut through. Alison's decided to try him on solids, starting with a small amount of baby rice.
Are you gonna show them how good you are at eating this down? Very tasty. I know, you're just staring at me too much. I need to wear a woolly monkey mask. It's a really delicate balance to provide him the comfort and support and care that he needs, to talk to him, to chirp to him, to make him feel loved and wanted. Like a human baby, he needs all of those things in order to have a good, strong will to live. But at the same time, we're gonna hand him back to a group of woolly monkeys, so you don't want him so humanized that he doesn't know what to do with the woolly monkey. So it is a balance, and it is a hard one.
Alison will give Cosmo another week to make sure he's fully recovered. Then he can restart daily visits to his playroom in Chippy's house and begin to get to know his family once again. It's the start of a brand new day at the park, and for one little ape, it's a new beginning in a new home. And there's a new family to meet and grow up with. Mimi has just arrived at the park from Moscow. The little orangutan was born at the zoo there, but was rejected by her mum at birth. She's now 21 months old, and Monkey World has accepted her into the European creche for orphaned orangutans. She's just spent her first night in one of the bedrooms at the nursery.
She seemed like really happy, and she's still loving cuddling her dolly hedgehog. But she looked really good, and she have lots of fruit already this morning and drink good fluid. And now she's already start checking everybody and seem like, who are you, and are you going to be nice to me? And she seemed like really interesting to people. Her personality slightly calmer now, and also because in Mimi new room now we got lots of climbing thing, and she's been checking and she's been practice her swinging around skill. She's a good climber.
Mimi's calm and relaxed acceptance of her new surroundings has allowed the team to make the decision to introduce her to one of the adult females in the nursery.
Well, I think I'd like to try Roro, yeah?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to get
Roro has recently joined the nursery from Tuan's group, and she's proven quite a hit with the youngsters. Hopefully she'll take Mimi under her wing and look after her when the more boisterous older boys get to meet her. Roro pokes her head into the bedroom to check out the new arrival. She's not overly forward towards the little orangutan and gives Mimi time and space to get used to the presence of a large adult. Then Roro heads back down the tunnel.
It doesn't make for a very dramatic introduction, but actually it's really good because nobody's pressuring anyone. So for Mimi, she might eventually become curious, why isn't Roro like all over me? So really pleased. Hopefully things will progress. We just have to give it time. But Roro's going to have another drive-by, so let's see.
Roro's second attempt at making contact is more successful.
Yeah, let's just see what happens here.
That's good.
The two start to interact, but with Mimi disinclined to share.
She's just so greedy with her things. And Roro's holding her ground, but being nice about it. Oh, then I'll take this one.
That is mine as well.
Yeah.
Roro is playing the introduction perfectly, encouraging Mimi by not being too confrontational and letting the youngster come to her. For a moment, Mimi even forgets about the stuffed toy hedgehog she's been clinging to since leaving Moscow Zoo.
I'm kind of amazed that she left the hedgehog.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's not going to be any different. So I would consider whether or not you sleep them together overnight with the 2 rooms. And then they can choose. Roro's not going to do anything horrible.
Before long, the pair are playing together.
We couldn't have asked for more. She's already sort of dumped the hedgehog. She's climbing in the houses. And she appears far more relaxed and orangutan-like. Couldn't have done better today. And we just need to take it nice, calm, and slow. And I'll let everybody in Moscow know how well it's gone. They'll be so pleased. Really, really happy. And I think Mimi's going to have a good future here in the nursery group.
But for now, the excitement of the morning has tired out Mimi, and she settles down to a well-earned nap. Little Mimi isn't the only new arrival at the park this year, although she's certainly one of the cutest. Competing for the title, however, are the beautiful babies who arrive to swell the ranks of the woolly monkeys. They're all the offspring of dominant male Chippy. First to arrive was Pakaya's son Claude, just beating Paquita to the post with her new baby, Cassius.
Good boy.
Next, along came Cosmo, born to Paquita's daughter Isla, making Paquita a grandmother for the first time. Perhaps scoring lower on the adorable scale were the park's 2 new stump-tailed macaques, Toto and Freddie from Belgium.
Oh, good boy.
Toto, however, got top marks for his handsome looks, although was lower down the order than Freddie when it came to making friends and fitting in.
Fred could do with coming back, really.
Among the more unusual newcomers this year were 5 slow lorises from Hong Kong.
Go on, you 2.
After a few false starts, they've now all been paired up with a mate and have settled in.
Welcome. Yeah.
The team also welcomed a new ring-tailed lemur, rescued by the RSPCA, who they named Al. Lacking in confidence at first, he eventually found a friend in female Kaya. And 2 new marmosets, rescued from the British pet trade, now have a home at the park. Common marmoset Moon.
There you are, little man. Hey, you. Hey, gorgeous.
And Geoffroy's marmoset Frank. It's been a busy year, and there's bound to be no let-up in the months to come as more primates needing a better life arrive at the park. Alison and the team are already making plans for 3 new squirrel monkeys in need of refuge.
Why would people find this remotely acceptable or remotely okay? I don't know.
After 30 years of rescuing and caring for primates in need, the park's work continues, and the results are clear to see.